On Sports Central, the coaches back-to-back for In Vogue. Top people in 2 stories.
On 882 6PR.
And the coach of the Fremantle Dockers, Ross Lyon, joins us. Go, Ross.
G'day, Brad. Carl.
How are you, mate?
Well, you got the result in the end about what we thought it would be. Tell us what happened between starting and getting there.
Oh, well, I thought we exploded early, really dominant first quarter, and second quarter the same, but 2-13. So enormous amount of shots, just some sloppy finishing. Defensively got a bit sloppy in the third. I was a bit disappointed with that. And then I thought we finished off strong, 20 entries and 6-4, and overall quite solid. But if we executed in front of goal, it could have been 100 points at half time. I don't think you can ask much more than that.
Now, the box was where you were sitting and the cameras were on you and you were showing a bit of animation, and then Kepler came off and you had him straight on the phone because he was one of the culprits. Can you enlighten the listeners on what sort of communication that you and he had?
Yeah, I certainly never personalised anything to the players, or I never abused players, I know that. So it was all about action, and we've been focusing on centering the ball, and the week before he just sort of hung out the ball trying to invent a handball, and we're trying to kick more, and I just thought he did it and handballed the John Griffin flat-footed when he could have centred the ball. So it had nothing to do with Kepler's finishing or anything like that. It was really just that I just thought he should have centred the ball. It was probably a build-up of some 50-metre penalties and a little bit of sloppiness, so we just wanted to keep our disciplines.
After he missed that second one, I comically left the 882 6PR commentary box. I was actually heading down to the boundary to actually have a chat to him myself, because when he actually kicks for goal, he's off balance. He doesn't take his next step towards the target. He falls off. And so that's why he sprays the ball. Can you get onto him and tell him to put
what you should do, and you'll still have his number. I'll let the cobblers do the cobbling. Get onto your fellow great forward of that Eagles era and ring Peter.
Oh, I had to remind him all the time.
He loved it. He talks highly of you all the time. So I'm happy to pass it on, but I talk enough to him. So, but you're right, it's about momentum and flying through the ball. I actually thought that the one that on three-quarter time against Melbourne, he just didn't come through with the power he can kick with. So I think you're right, it's a little bit about momentum.
Of course, we looked at this in a block of 4 weeks. I know you were, Ross, but we are. Yeah, I know. But you got it. You're 3 parts of the way there. Now, how close is Fyfe?
He'll play.
You'll play?
That's how close he is. He'll play. Unless there's a hiccup this week. He was right to go last week in his mind, but we wanted to give him more work and make sure, he was really ticked all the boxes really thoroughly. So, no, he'll play.
What about anybody else throughout the waffle? Lower, they sort of blokes
Mayne will play. He'll be available. So Mayne is available to be selected, so he'll certainly come back in. Look, there's some pressure for spots building. Yeah, I've got to get a medical tick-off on Greg to be available. He's had a couple of issues with his back and so on, but Lockie Neal was BRG and he had 34 possessions.
Zach Dawson?
Zach Dawson, yeah, he's a test. He's quite hopeful. Well, we're pretty keen to get him up and about, So, who else? So, Mayne, Fyfe, and there's some blokes putting on some good performances. Fawksy's been really consistent. Silvani played back. Jesse Crichton wasn't at his best on the weekend, but he was in the mix last week. We're really keen to try and find a spot for him because he's been working really hard.
Nick Lower?
He come off a concussion and then had some issues just with a bit of nausea and so on. So we're trying to work our way through that. But in the club this morning, I saw him do some really solid 150s. So we're not sure whether that was related or it's just a bit of an illness.
But he played for Perth on the weekend, though, and he had...
Yeah, but he come off.
Yeah, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he come off with some nausea. So we're not sure it was just illness because there's a lot of flu or head cold going around.
Yeah, or Mayne and Fyfe, as you say, are givens. You'd be a little reluctant to make too many changes, would you? Because if you start talking
you're
about...
right. You're right, mate. You sort of, when you have a good win and we've been quite solid, you don't want to make yourself vulnerable with people being thin for fitness and conditioning. You wouldn't want to play. But clearly, Mayne's been super all year. And then from there, we've got to pick a team that can go across and get it done. And, we're going to have to work through that at match committee.
Now, did you at any stage on the weekend during that game feel sorry for GWS? Because I did.
Oh, well, I think we all understand and accept where new franchises are coming in and what they're doing. So I just thought, without sort of, trying to make something it's not, I thought their spirit all day was fantastic. Like Bug went to Ballantyne and really persisted. And I just thought even in the last... So we'll do what they did after half-time and come out and kick those 4 goals. When traditionally after half-time they've been collapsing. I thought showed really good spirit. So regardless of the scoreboard, they made some improvements on the weekend. But they exposed a lot. And look, it's going to be a long, hard road, but I don't think we'll be feeling too sorry for them in 3 or 4 years if they keep all their players and they all blossom. I think we'll all be under a bit of pressure ourselves.
But you spoke about continuity and you spoke about getting games into players and so on, but then, not trying to upset. They made 10 changes again on the weekend, and a couple of those senior blokes, like, I'll use names, Brogan and Corns, who they recruited to show leadership, they just didn't play them.
Well, it's hard for me to comment on other clubs, I think Kevin Sheedy has got me and you covered, and Brad for experience, and Mark Williams for experience and premiership. So I think unless you're at the coalface, it's hard to make judgments, but you're right, they were brought in to give them some support under pressure. So I think everyone tick off GWS's first year. I think their last 3 weeks has been their hardest. It's the hardest time of the year, and you'd have to ask them all their decision-making. It's really quite difficult for me to comment.
Now, did the boys have a laugh at Hayden's expense in the review today? Because I was watching the television and I was taught to keep my eye on the ball at all times.
So what are you suggesting, Brad?
I'm suggesting he wasn't watching.
Jewels.
He what?
The one that he got in the Crown Jewels.
Oh, did he? I didn't.
Oh, you didn't see that?
We haven't done our review yet.
Oh, you've got to put that in the video.
Put it in.
Yeah, okay. Caught one, did he?
Yeah. Yeah, it was the one which
there was an incoming ball, and the umpire blew the whistle, and Hayden looked at the umpire to see what was going on, and the man in front of him was quite taller than him. Yeah, got him right in the orchestra stalls.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure they'll get a run somewhere.
Now, your captain, Matthew Pavlich, he has been...
My captain.
Yeah, he's been the most efficient forward in the game. 31 goals since round 11. He's showing great leadership, and obviously it could have been more, but he had 3 men on him in the second quarter. You would have noticed. We
did talk about that quarter time, looking off your line and finding if there's 3 on Pav, there's got to be others free. So that was an issue I thought we could have been better at, just sort of looking off the line and lowering our eyes and picking some better options there. I mean. So, look, teams are going to look at the numbers and double team Pav or triple team him, but that just really provides other options for us, and I'm sure we're going to be good enough to find them when we need to.
Ross, just a generic question, this one. I mean, where is the game going when we've got, a bloke like Gary Ablett as a star, who has it 53 times and his side gets beat by 100 points, and now we've got Dane Swan having it 49 times and his team gets beat by 9 goals?
Well, that's always happened, hasn't it?
Not really.
Well, Gary Wilson used to run around and get 60 and they never played finals. So you used to run around and get a few. Right?
Never much more than about 35. But 49
well, when you look at the Eagles, they used to get all 18 to 20 and weighted numbers. And, it just highlights we're not basketball. It's not about one player controls the whole court and the whole game. It's about... And you need a weighted numbers performance. You need talent across all lines and competitiveness across all lines. So,
but you as an opposition coach wouldn't like to see one of the opposition get it 53 times, surely?
I would if we won by 10 goals. It wouldn't worry me too much.
Yeah,
to be frank, it wouldn't worry me at all. We could have 60 if we win by 10. Yeah. So, I spoke to Ruzi a little bit about it today. It's just, with the different style defences and team defence, and there's a bit more latitude for individuals. I suppose it's about when they get it, how much pressure they're put on and how damaging they're being. There's some great players around at the minute, though. Gee, Dane Swan's unbelievable. You're talking about a couple of freaks, really, aren't you?
Some good numbers. So Port Adelaide this week, do you continue your own processes, or do you pick a side that's going to be, as you say, go over there and get the job done?
Yeah, we've got to really pick a team that's balanced and can get it done. There's probably, looking at the Melbourne game in hindsight, Grover went out. We respected his contribution the week before, but maybe we're a little bit soft at match committee when we thought the extra runner, in the end come in handy. Probably in hindsight, did we pick the right team originally? So it is part of the art form, picking the right team for the right opposition, and probably need to get a little bit more ruthless with that. And as a match committee, we've really respected effort and and hardness, but and role. Sometimes you just got to pick it a bit more specifically. So that's where we're really an opportunity to tighten up as a match committee over the next 6 weeks, no doubt.
Zach Clark, just last one for me.
Yeah.
He just looks like he's lost his confidence. I mean, I know he wasn't great in a couple of weeks when he went back to East Perth, but he just doesn't look like the same player of a few weeks ago at the moment.
Yeah, look, he was in better form early in the year. There's no doubt about it. And I've probably experienced this with Justin Kazitsky a little bit before. Like, he wasn't banging it down, but he certainly enabled the other forwards to function. So what we'll look at this week, did Zach, his height and his mobility and movement really help Pav kick his 7? So if you look at it in isolation, it wasn't world-beating, but if you look at the collective, it worked. So we'll just sort of ascertain what role he played and did it help everybody. If we think it did, we'll just stick with him because structurally it gives us a bit of height and ruck work.
Good on you, Ross. Appreciate your time. Good luck on the weekend.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks,
Ross Lyon there.
Make sure you ring someone.
Yeah, I'll ring him. Don't worry, otherwise I'll just come down to training.
All right, you're welcome. Ta-ra, mate. Bye.
See ya.
Ross Lyon from the Fremantle Dockers.